Is Social Security in crisis? Is the Social Security Administration really in a situation where things are breaking down and we are in a perfect storm for a meltdown? Well, if you look at the news, especially the last 3 days, that is exactly the picture that you would get. Here is Business Insider saying seniors are flooding AARP with concerns about their Social Security retirement benefits. This is the Washington Post today. Long waits, waves of call, website crashes. Social Security is breaking down. A flood of cuts by Elon Musk has sent the agency into chaos as new commissioner prepares to take charge. This is the Wall Street Journal yesterday. Dealing with Social Security is heading from bad to worse. The agency that administers benefit is cutting staff and restricting services as part of a Department of Government Efficiency review. And this is the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. Trump administration Doge activities risk SSA operations and security of personal data. This is Vox, the Social Security crisis, briefly explained. The Trump administration is putting millions of people's retirement benefit at risk. And the current Commerce Secretary, he went on on a, on a, on an interview and made a big statement that caused a lot of people concerns. He said that if you don't get your Social Security benefit, you should not complain. So if you look at the news, you would think that Social Security is in crisis. What is really going on? Is the system really melting down? Is this a perfect storm? My goal is to bring you what is happening and give you the facts. And I'll walk you through the changes that are happening and who will be impacted the most. And then finally, today, the incoming Social Security administrator, the one that has been selected by President Trump, was in front of the Senate today testifying, and they asked him a bunch of questions. One of the questions was, does he support prioritizing Social Security? Is privatization the end game for all of the activities that Elon Musk is doing? And I want to give you his answer, including answers to other questions that was asked by him at the Senate. This is the guy that is going to take over and run the Social Security Administration. So his thoughts on privatization is something you want to hear. Stay till the end of this video. So welcome. This is Business Benefits Insider, and our goal is to help seniors get the benefits they deserve. We've been doing this for 15 years and counting, and our main mission is to make sure that you are up to date on any news that is going to impact your benefits, whether it's Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and more. So if you're new here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because we appreciate your support. And as always, just like we do every day on our broadcast, we want to know your city and state. Where are you watching this broadcast from? Go in the comment section and let me know your city and your state. So let's dive right in. There's a lot to cover today, so stay with me. The perfect storm, Social Security's meltdown. Social Security in crisis, navigating the storm of 2025. The Social Security's website crashed 4 times in the last 10 days due to server overload, blocking millions from accessing their accounts. This unprecedented system failure highlights the aging infrastructure struggling to cope with increasing demand from 73 million beneficiaries. And then there's staffing crisis. Office managers are answering phones in place of receptionists due to widespread staff reductions. Over 12% of the 57,000 staff have been pushed out in recent weeks, leaving critical position and field and services understaffed. And then there's monitoring. The agency no longer has a system to monitor customer experience after the responsible office was eliminated by Doge. This loss of oversight capacity makes it impossible to track and improve services quality for millions of vulnerable Americans relying on Social Security. And then there's more. Phone lines are constantly ringing, with callers facing unprecedented wait times and difficulties reaching live representatives. The average wait time for all toll-free line has doubled from 50 minutes just recently to over 100 minutes in just a few months, leaving many frustrated and without access to critical information. The numbers do not lie. Social Security delivers 1.5 trillion annually in benefits to 73 million Americans, including retired workers, survivors, and disabled individuals. This represents a critical lifeline for 40% of older Americans who rely on Social Security as their primary source of income. Over 12% of the 57,000 staff have been pushed out in recent weeks under new leadership. This rapid reduction in workforce has left many offices understaffed and struggling to maintain service levels. And I've talked about the wait time. It's gone from 50 minutes to 100 minutes in a few months. Some callers, including those who have reported on videos that I've done in the past, I've seen it in the comments. Some people have reported longer wait times, and some have recorded up to 5 hours waiting on the phone to reach Social Security, and then they get cut, and then they have to start all over again. Initial disability claims now take on average 233 days to review, a significant increase from previous years. This delay can have severe consequences for disabled Americans waiting for crucial financial support. And here's a shocking number that you need to think about. Over 30,000 Americans die every year waiting for disability benefits to be approved. So think about that. So this situation that I'm talking about is going to even make that worse, because now the processing time is getting longer and longer, and people have to wait further and further for their benefits. And then there's a leadership carousel. There's a lot of instability going on. Social Security has had 4 commissioners in just 5 months, with only one being Senate confirmed. This unprecedented leadership instability has led to confusion and inconsistent policy implementation throughout the agency. Current acting commissioner Leland Dudek was elevated from a mid-level position after providing data to Elon Musk's team. The only qualification he had, the guy who is running the agency now as the acting commissioner, as a mid-level staff, it was because a request came to him from Doge, and he bypassed everybody and did it, and now he was promoted to the leader. His appointment has raised concerns about influence of outside interests on the agency's operations. And then there's the policy whiplash. Rapid-fire policy changes have created chaos for frontline staff and confused beneficiaries. New mandates, such as requiring an in-person verification for many services, have been implemented without adequate preparation or consideration of their impact. And then experts are leaving. Dozens of officials with experience of Social Security running the system and the very complex system that they have been pushed out or left in disgust. This brain drain threatens the agency's ability to maintain and improve its critical services. So what is Doge? How does Doge fit into all of this? Well, Musk Doge of Department of Government Efficiency team works in secure conference room at the Social Security headquarters. Their presence and activities have raised concerns about transparency and potential misuse of sensitive data. Doge is pouring through Social Security's massive trove of private data on millions of Americans. This access to personal information has sparked debate about privacy and appropriate use of government data. The team initially focused on false claims of deceased people receiving benefits, now implementing strict anti-fraud measures. However, experts argue that benefit fraud is relatively rare, with overpayments accounting for less than 1% of total buyouts. Now, I know a lot of you are going to go into the comments and come at me. This is the facts about dead people receiving Social Security benefits. So they did a report recently, a few days ago, and they realized that there was about 1,200 people over 100 years old that were getting Social Security benefits. And when they went and checked, a majority of them are actually still alive. So Doge must have thought that these people are dead, and they claim 20 million people over 100 are getting social security. It wasn't correct. The agency only found about 1,200 people that are over 100 that are getting social security, and majority of them were still alive. Only 200 of them had passed away recently, and probably they haven't caught up with the information yet, but only 200 were found to be dead. Majority of them were still alive and collecting benefits. So there's a lot of information going out there. There's a lot of distortion. Claim of massive fraud is not true. It hasn't been shown to be true because we would have seen people prosecuted left and right. That has not happened, which to me shows that the system was doing relatively well. Was there room for improvement? Was there waste, fraud, and abuse? Yes. Should it be rooted out? Yes. But was it at the scale that Elon was claiming? Absolutely not. Because the dead people he's talking about, they only found 200 instead of 20 million. But then there's a human cost to all of this. Callers report wait times up to 5 hours, with many unable to reach a live person at all. This breakdown in phone service leaves millions of beneficiaries without access to critical information that they need. Offices are seeing exponential growth in foot traffic as elderly Americans seek answers about changes. Some offices report lines forming from dawn, before dawn, with staffing struggling to manage increased demand. Homeless and homebound customers may be left without access to critical services due to new in-person requirements. The agency has yet to develop a clear plan for serving those vulnerable populations under the new policy. AARP reports double the usual number of calls from concerned retirees about future of their benefits. This surge in anxiety reflects the widespread confusion and fear caused by rapid changes and service disruptions. And then let's talk about technology. Why are the website crashing? As I've told you, the Social Security website has crashed many times in the last 10 days. Why is that happening? Well, Social Security's technology systems were already struggling before recent cuts and changes. The agency's $15 billion budget has remained relatively flat over the last decade, leaving little room for necessary upgrades. A phone system modernization project has faced multiple delays and system crashes. The transition from Verizon to Amazon Web Services was incomplete when the latest changes were implemented, exacerbating service issues. And then the brain drain. Nearly a quarter of critical payment staff have left or will soon depart. Risk missing deadlines and payment glitches. This loss of expertise threatened the agency's ability to maintain and update complex systems that millions rely on for timely benefits. And then there is resource scarcity. A spending freeze has left many field offices without basic supplies like paper, pens, and phone headsets. This is real. This is all coming. In the beginning of this video, I shared with you about 8 headlines. All of this information was collected from that and pulled together, and I'm presenting it to you in a presentable format, digesting everything and bringing you the facts out of those. So I am not making this up. This is coming from news reports that have happened in the last few days. So when you see that offices have been frozen and they cannot buy paper, pens, phone headsets, this shortage of essential services and resources further hampers the ability of staff to serve the public effectively. And then on top of that, there's scams that are happening. People are taking advantage of what's happening, trying to scam seniors. Scammers are taking advantage of confusion, sending fake emails, asking seniors to verify their identity to keep their benefits. These scams exploit the uncertainty caused by rapid policy changes and communication breakdown. So if you receive an email or a text message telling you to verify your identity to keep your Social Security or disability benefits, please do not respond to it. The Social Security Administration will not send you information like that to request verification. They will send you a letter in the mail and invite you to the office. So if somebody sends you an email or a text message during this mass confusion about what is happening and asking you to verify your benefits, otherwise they're going to hold your Social Security check, do not respond to it. New in-person verification requirements may inadvertently create opportunities for identity theft and fraud. The rush to implement these changes have left gaps in security protocols that could be exploited by bad actors. Doge's access to Social Security private data raises questions about information security and potential misuse. The lack of transparency around Doge's activities has fueled concerns about data protection and privacy rights. And the combination of service issues, security concern is undermining confidence in the Social Security system. The erosion of trust could have long-term consequences for a program whose political support and sustainability has been really solid. So, what's the road ahead? What can you expect going forward? Well, Social Security faces potential insolvency in a decade without significant changes, which means that at the current rate, if nothing is done to the Social Security Trust Fund, there will be an automatic 21% cut come 2033, 2034, because the trust fund will be depleted. Why? Because there's less money coming into the Social Security system than the money that is being paid in retirement benefits and disability benefits. And that gap is a deficit. And every year, that deficit is taken out of the Social Security Trust Fund, which is a surplus fund. But that deficit continues to grow. And so by 2033, that $2.8 trillion that is in that Social Security Trust Fund bucket will all be spent on paying benefits. And then if it runs out, there is an automatic 21% cut in benefits. President Trump has pledged not to touch benefit levels, but administrative changes are already impacting access. The disconnect between political rhetoric and on the ground reality is creating confusion and anxiety among many beneficiaries. Lawmakers are fielding an increasing number of calls from concerned constituents about the future of their benefits. This growing public pressure could force Congress to address Social Security challenges more urgently, which will be a good thing because Congress has a role to play to extend the lifespan of Social Security. The current crisis may force a national conversation about long-term sustainability and structure of Social Security, with 40% of older Americans relying on Social Security as their primary source, and the stakes for reform are already high. So, what are the changes that I'm talking about? What changes can you expect? If you don't know it already, what are these changes that are happening that you may or may not know about? Let's talk about it. So the first one is the new identity verification policy. Starting March 31st, 2025, Social Security will require in-person identity verification for those unable to complete the process online. This affects new claims filed over the phone and certain Medicare applications. And then we talked about the trust fund concern, the widespread fear about Social Security trust fund stability. As of 2023, the fund contained $2.8 trillion, but being gradually depleted as benefit payouts exceed income that's coming in. I've done a whole series of videos about the 5 proposals in front of President Trump to fix this issue, to fix Social Security and make sure that the trust fund doesn't run out of money. And you can check out some of my older videos, and I'll be doing more of that to fill you in on all the options that are available to fix this problem before 2033. The new verification policy may create barriers for vulnerable populations, potentially causing delays in benefit receipt. This is particularly concerning for elderly individuals or those in rural areas. Now, this presentation will cover the policies, expert tips, and address common misconceptions about Social Security Trust Fund. Understanding these aspects is crucial for navigating the system. So let's get to it. So the Social Security Trust Fund, let's talk about it. The Social Security Trust Fund, established in 1935, serves as the system's savings account. It's built from decades of collected FICA taxes and has been a cornerstone of the program's financial future. As of 2023, the trust fund contained approximately $2.8 trillion. However, it is being depleted as benefit payouts exceed incoming revenue. In 2023, the Social Security Administration received 1.1 trillion in income. The majority came from FICA taxes, with additional revenue coming from taxes on Social Security benefit, which pulls in about 50 billion, and then interest on the trust fund investment. So the trust fund money is invested in government bonds, specially designed government bonds, and that also brought in $63 billion. But then how much is being taken out? In 2023, Social Security paid out 1.2 trillion in benefits. So already you can see there is 100 billion. So exceeding its income, the 70 billion difference was covered by the trust fund. So as I said, that difference, how much money is coming in and how much money is going out, if there's a difference, they have to dip into the savings account, which is the Social Security Trust Fund, to fund that. But the trust fund doesn't have unlimited money. So that is where the depletion is coming from. How does Social Security invest its money? This has been a question that a lot of you have been asking. Where did the money go? Where did the money go? Well, by law, the Social Security Trust Fund must invest in special issue U.S. Treasury securities. These are considered among the safest financial instruments globally, backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. The government does use the money invested in these securities. So here's where a lot of the confusion comes from, because a lot of people have been saying Congress has been stealing from the Social Security Trust Fund and have not paid it back, or that I've heard some people say Lyndon Johnson passed a law to move the Social Security money into the general pool, which is true, and it allowed Congress and several Democratic and Republican presidents to steal from the account and not pay it back. That may be true, but it's a technicality that we have to address. The government does use the money invested in these securities. They do. But it is legally obligated to pay it back with interest. This process is similar to how banks use deposited funds for loans while maintaining the depositor's account balance. So when you deposit money in a bank account or in a savings account, the bank is going to take that money and loan it. The bank does, but they owe that obligation to you when you need it. So that is a similar process of how the Social Security money is spent by the government, but the government has an IOU with interest. Many countries, including Canada and Japan, as well as entire entities like the 401k plan and investors like Warren Buffett, invest in U.S. Treasury securities. This widespread use underscores their perceived safety and reliability in global financial system. Unlike a Ponzi scheme, Social Security provides detailed annual trust fund reports. If you go to the Social Security website, there's a trustee report that you can access. These reports offer full transparency on income sources, expenditures, the trust fund status, and are available for public scrutiny for anybody to see. I have printed them out, reviewed them just for my own education. And you can go to the Social Security website, you type in the trustee report, and you can pull it up for several years going back. But the clock is ticking. As we said, 2034, if nothing is done, there will be 21% cuts. The retirement of baby boomer generation 1946 to 1964 is a significant factor in the trust fund's depletion. More beneficiaries are claiming benefits than workers paying into the system, creating a demographic imbalance. As long as people continue working and paying FICA taxes, Social Security can sustain itself in some form. However, the levels of benefits may change, necessitating serious discussions about the system's funding and benefit structure. Now, here are some myths that I want to debunk. And I know this is going to be controversial, but I'm just presenting the facts, and you can research it for yourself. Claims that politicians have stolen trillions from the trust fund are unfounded. The fund status is publicly reported. So the government owes the money, and they are transparent about what money the Social Security pot has in it and how much they have paid out, how much has been invested. You can see all that information. Now, I think a lot of people expect that Social Security money will be sitting in a pot and that nobody will touch it. but the money is taken and invested in treasury bonds. So essentially, when Social Security funds are paid, the government's obligations is to make sure that the money that they owe to beneficiaries are being paid out, and watching that the money that is coming in and realizing, okay, does it match? And if it doesn't match, then there's a deficit, and then they have to go into the trust fund and take out the money. Now, I'm explaining a very complicated system, but I know, as I said in my presentation, some viewers will disagree. I have not found credible evidence that the government stole the money. So if you have an article, or you have a news source, or you have a video, whatever you have that told you that Social Security money was stolen, I think you should educate all of us, put it in the comments, and let us all see it, because I have searched high and low and I have not found any credible source that the government stole Social Security money. Now, they have IOUs to pay money back, but to say they stole it means that it was never going to be put back. I haven't found evidence of that. So please educate me in the comments. Send me information, links to articles, links to videos, reports, whatever, wherever you're getting your news, let me know in the comments. Real money, real benefits. Despite misconception, the trust fund contains real money. In 2023, approximately 6 to 8% of each Social Security check came directly from the trust fund, demonstrating its tangible impact on beneficiaries. And one thing I want to say is that Social Security is a pay-as-you-go system. So it wasn't designed for money to be sitting in the pot. Is that the money that are being paid by current workers are funding retiree benefits. That is how the system has been set up. And if there's a surplus, then it goes into the trust fund and then it's invested. So I want to make that really clear, that that is how the system works. There's not, if all the money you've paid into Social Security is not just sitting in an account. Money that comes in from current workers are funding current retirees. And then whenever there's a surplus, more money coming in than being paid out, it goes into the trust fund. And then what is that for? It's invested so that when there's a deficit like we have right now, where more money is being taken out than is being put in, then they will dip into the trust fund and use it to pay for the balance. So that is how the system works. If you think it works any different, please educate me in the comments. Now, there's a human cost for all of the things that are happening. The new in-person identity is going to cause a lot of problems for elderly populations, people with disabilities. There's going to be delays in processing and receiving benefits. And then the policy, while it's aimed at reducing fraud, critics argue that may disproportionately affect those who need benefits urgently. Now, how can you get ahead of all this? What can you do to get ahead of all this? Well, first, create a My Social Security account. If you've never gone online to create a My Social Security account, do that now. The crucial solution is to create an account at socialsecurity.gov as soon as possible. This allows you to verify your earnings record, ensure it's accurate, and then maybe print it out. Because they're going to use the last 35 years, the highest 35 years of your earnings, as the way to determine your benefits. So you want to make sure that the highest 35 years, the number is correct. How much you paid into the system has correctly been captured. Make it a habit to check your earnings record annually. If you find discrepancies, especially missing years, it is easier to correct them quickly. Accurate records ensure you receive the full benefits you have earned. And then familiarize yourself with different benefit types and which you qualify for. Some people are eligible for disability benefits. It will tell you whether you are eligible for SSDI if in their fortunate situation you need it. You can see all that in the Social Security system online. And then if you are going to the office to meet with Social Security staff, plan for that. Given the new in-person verification requirements, plan ahead for potential visit to the Social Security office. This may include arranging transportation, gathering necessary documents, and allowing extra time for processing. And I'm going to skip this part because I want to talk to you about what's happening with the new Social Security head, the guy who is going to take over the Social Security Administration, he had a hearing today with the Senate, and he had some interesting things to say. So I want to share with you before. But before we do that, let's talk about Medicaid for a quick second. Medicare has a critical deadline that is coming up in a few days, March the 31st. A lot of people are being dropped from their plan. So it's important to verify your Medicaid plan right now and make sure you're in the right plan, because there is a small window for you to change your plan until the fall. You will have to wait after March 31st. You have to wait till the fall. So we have partnered with Chapter Medicare. The number you see on the screen, they are a free service to you. They are unbiased, and they have access to all 24,000 Medicare plans. They're actually the only company that has access to all 24,000 Medicare Advantage plans. They can help you figure out the plan that meets your need, your budget, and cover the services that you need. They don't work for commission. So when you get on the phone with them, they are not going to sell you the most expensive plan. Their goal is to help you get into a good plan, especially since the window is closing in a few days. And then they can save you a lot of money, up to $1,100 a year. So call Chapter at 539-205-2147. But you have a few days to do that. You call them today, or go into the description to this video. There is a form you can fill out. They'll reach out to you, explain everything to you, and they are very highly rated, A+ with the Better Business Bureau, lots of 5-star reviews. These guys are legit. I have not recommended a Medicare partner in 14 years that I've been creating content for seniors. These guys are the real deal. That is why I'm partnering with them. Now, let's talk about the guy who is going to take over Social Security. He had a hearing today in the Senate, and let's hear what he has to say. So this is the New York Times. Trump's pick to lead the Social Security Administration faces senators, and he's expected to face questions about the White House plans for the agency. So I am going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to call him Frank. Frank maintained a calm demeanor through the hearing, smoothly answering questions, though sometimes not as directly as Democratic senators would have wanted. In one exchange, Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts described a hypothetical situation in which a retiree's benefits were delayed by 3 months because of customer service issues related to cuts by Doge's efforts, and pressed him whether that would qualify as a benefit cut. And he said, "I'm not sure what to call it. It sounds like a horrible situation." So he pretty much gets it, that what's happening right now is not the ideal situation. Republicans also questioned him on his commitment to improving customer service, but he seemed largely in agreement that he had the experience necessary to run such an agency. The guy comes from finance background. He's known as a fixer, so he's fixed a lot of financial companies. He looks very credible to me, so it looks like he's the right pick for the job. Regarding privatizing Social Security, he was asked directly. This is a big deal because a lot of people are thinking that everything Elon Musk is doing is designed to break Social Security so that they can turn around and use that as an excuse to privatize the system and put it in private hands to be managed. Well, Frank was asked about it, and he offered a guarantee at his confirmation hearing that he would not seek to privatize the program. "I have never thought about privatization." This comes directly from him. So you can see he's quoted directly as offering a guarantee that he's not going to privatize Social Security, and that is not his intention to do that. So you heard it from him. Now we're going to see. He looks like he's going to be confirmed, and he's going to take over the agency very soon. And then ABC News reported that at 2:11 p.m. today, Trump's SSA pick, not seeking to privatize Social Security, will meet people where they want to be met. So it looks like all is well. He's the right guy for the job. The senators believe that he has the experience. He's considered as a fixer. So he's coming in with the right kind of experience and caliber to be able to deal with what's happening there. So hopefully you will see some improvement soon when he takes over and start making changes and making sense of all the things that Doge has done. But it looks like he's the right guy for the job, and he's promised not to privatize Social Security. So we have to take him at his word and move on. So that is all I have for you today. If you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments. And as usual, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, because we appreciate your support. And I know you guys have a lot to say about today's video. I'm bringing you the facts. And if you have anything that will educate me, put it in the comments. Put the article link, put the video link. I like broader perspective because I want to make sure that I understand where everybody's coming from with their point of view, but I would like you to back it up with facts. So I look for a good discussion in the comments. And until tomorrow and another live, thank you for spending time with me this Tuesday, March the 25th. Thank you.